Hey, what's good, guys? It's morning voice Luna here. Sorry if I sound like I just rolled out of bed because I did. Although I record a lot of my videos right after I roll out of bed, so I probably don't sound very different to any of you. But anyway, yeah, today's story time, in my opinion, is a very crazy one. It is definitely one of the more insane ones I've told on this channel. It takes place in the last year of high school for me, and this was just insane. It was a shit show. I hope you enjoy this story time. If you do, leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. And let's jump right into today's story time. So, like I said, today's story time takes place in the last year of high school. I woke up, got up out of bed, took a shower. I actually got up kind of early for the day, so I was able to, actually get ready in time and not rush. So, I took a nice long shower, ate some breakfast, just sat on my phone for a little bit, and then the bus came and picked me up. Now, at the time, I was dating somebody. And, she was pretty cool. I was only dating her for about a month at this point, but so far, so good. So, fast forward, I go to school, I get there, I get into my first period class, and I was just sitting in there doing my work, right? Just kind of trying to get through the day as normal. And I get a text message from my girlfriend, and she says, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm in first period. Where are you?" She's like, "Meet me in the downstairs bathroom." Now, immediately, a million thoughts pop into my head. This could mean 100 different things. This could be like, oh, meet me in the bathroom so we could talk, or meet me in the bathroom so we could do something else that would probably get us both in trouble, whatever that may be, right? So I get up, I ask the teacher if I can go to the bathroom. My teacher says, fine, hurry back. And I go to the bathroom. And when I get there, there's obviously two bathrooms. There's a girl's one, there's a boy's one. And my girlfriend's sitting there in between the two, waiting for me. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And she goes, hey, let's go in. And she starts walking in the girl's bathroom. And I'm like, no, I'm not going in there. If some girl walks in and sees me in there and I'm not a girl, they're probably going to hit me in the head with a roll of toilet paper. So we're going to the boys' one. And she's like, okay, fine, whatever. So we go in the boys' bathroom. We get in there. And the first thing she does is she goes, Austin, I need to ask you a question. And I'm just standing there like, okay, what is it? And she's like, do you want to do some Molly with me? And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, do you want to do some Molly with me? I was like, now? And she's like, yeah. And she proceeds to pull out this bag with Molly in it. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, come on, like, join me. And I was like, I don't think so. And she's like, why not? I was like, because I've came into school before high on Molly, and it was not a fun time. I had to go home early. And she was like, oh, come on, that was like a one-time thing. This time it's going to be a lot different. You'll be doing it with me, the person you love, and, like, it'll be really fun. Now, listen, she was cool and all, but we'd only been dating for like 3 or 4 weeks. It'd been like a month. So she was definitely like over-exaggerating at how close we were and trying to convince me in weird ways. And I was just like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I can't. And she's like, oh, really? Like, come on. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna. And honestly, I don't think you should either. Like, it's not the time to be doing that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna judge you for doing it. But, like, take it from somebody that's been to school before on Molly, not a good idea at all. And she's like, whatever. And she proceeds to take one and just, like, completely ignore me. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I gotta go back to class. If you need anything, text me or call me, okay? And she's like, yeah, whatever. So we both walk out of the bathroom and we head back towards our classes. I get back to my first period, I sit down, and I go about my day, right? Now fast forward to after first period, okay? The bell rings, we're all in the hallway getting stuff out of our lockers, and I go to stop by my girlfriend's locker to make sure she's okay, right? And when I go there, she doesn't meet me there. And usually we'd always meet each other after first period there anyway, so I was a little bit confused. And then all of a sudden, right as I get to her locker and she's not there, an overhead announcement comes on and says we're going into a lockdown. It says that everyone needs to get to their classroom immediately and that we're going into a lockdown. So I'm like, oh shit. So I immediately go to my class. I sit down. I ask my teacher if he knows what's going on. He's like, yeah, I have no idea. Like, I'll let you know if I figure anything out. I was like, okay. So everyone gets in the class. We shut the door. We lock it. And the whole school goes into a fucking lockdown. And 20 minutes later, another announcement comes on. And I'm thinking it's going to be an announcement saying, that lockdown's over. But no, an announcement comes on and it says, Austin to the principal's office. And the entire classroom looks at me because they think that I have something to do with this lockdown. And I stand up like real confused and my teacher walks up to me and he's like, Austin, what'd you do, man? I was like, honestly, nothing. I'm really confused. And he's like, all right, go to the principal's office. So I get up, he unlocks the door. I walk through these empty hallways up to the principal's office and I get into the office. And my principal actually wasn't there today, so my vice principal sits me down, and she's like, hey, do you know why you were called up here? And I was like, no, honestly, not at all. And as she's talking to me, I look out the window and I can see there's an ambulance in the front of the school driving off with its sirens on. And I look at her and I was like, what happened? And she goes, it's about your girlfriend. And I was like, what happened to her? She goes, she took a little too much of something and she had to get rushed to the ER. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. And according to security cameras, you and her both went in the bathroom during first period. So, like, what was going on? Did you sell her something? Did you talk about something? What is it? And I look her in the eye, and I'm like, are you accusing me of selling drugs to my own girlfriend? And she's like, no, I just want to know what you guys were talking about. I was like, no, you literally just said, did you sell her something? You're accusing me of selling drugs at school to my own girlfriend that could potentially hurt her. And she's like, no. And I was like, fuck you. And she's like, look, Austin, I'm not here to play these little games with you. I'm just asking you if you know anything because you talked to her before all this happened. I was like, no. You want to know what happened? I went in there. She asked me if I wanted to do something with her. I said no, and I went back to class. And my vice principal goes, was it Molly? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, okay, that's all I needed to know, Austin. Didn't need to, get all angry at me. I was like, it's hard not to get angry when you accuse me of selling drugs to people at school. And she's like, whatever. Listen, bottom line is, she's going to be okay. We think it's just a panic attack. I was like, you think? Or do you know? And she's like, we don't know for sure, but like, odds are she's going to be okay. So fast forward to after this, I go back to class. The school goes off lockdown. They were only in lockdown because they didn't want people seeing her get like wheeled out on a stretcher, rightfully so. And the whole day, I'm just texting my girlfriend, seeing if she's okay. And about 3 hours later, after all this happened, I get a text back. And she's like, hey, I'm fine. I just had a really bad freak out, really bad panic attack. I went to the hospital. They tested me for everything, made sure I was okay. I was fine. I wasn't overdosing. I was just freaking out for no reason. And I was like, listen, you can never do that shit again. Like, you cannot handle it. And especially at school, like, don't do that. And she was like, yeah, I know. Like, you told me so. And I was like, no, I'm not even trying to say I told you so. Like, I just don't want you to hurt yourself. And she's like, yeah, like, I totally understand. I promise I'll never do it again. And she wasn't kidding. She never did that shit again. But the sad part is because of her doing that in school, the school kind of like indefinitely suspended her, basically expelled her. They moved her to a different school that was like under our school's name. But basically she got kicked out of school and moved to a different one. So that sucked. And we ended up breaking up like a month later, which sucked even harder. But I'm just glad she's okay. Now, obviously, moral of this story is don't do that shit. Be safe. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. In the end, everyone was okay. I got accused of being a drug dealer, which I'm not. And that was that. It was very terrifying in the moment, but in the end, it was okay. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. In the night, you be wanting to fight. When I pull up, you see it's like, oh, shit. Cut all these ties cause they plan my demise. They all snakes and I think it's been showing. I got some issues, they haunting me daily. I'm losing my mind and I know